This episode of FilmRiot is brought to you by Domain.com. Welcome to FilmRiot Mondays. Going round two. Josh is going to try to make me laugh, and I am not going to laugh. Ready, go. It's so pathetic that you go right to toilet humor, and that's what breaks me every time. Unreal. First question, what is most of your budget spent on when doing short films like Proximity? It's actually food and transportation. I mean, Losses, and Proximity, all of those short films are ones that everybody donated their time just to be able to be involved and to make a thing, and all the gear that I used was borrowed or my own, so really all the money goes into food and transportation and lodging if I have to put people up. And Tell was actually our most expensive short film to date, and that's because we shot it over the course of the most days, I believe, of any other short. And there was a lot of food to be made, and I had to put actors in hotels, and I also paid for their gas because they were far from the location that we shot at. But for everything that I've done so far, the biggest bulk of cost is always food, transportation, and hotels. What do you do with your old FilmRiot footage? I guess you have tons of terabytes. We have a ridiculous amount. We should like add up how many terabytes of... Loads of them. We put them on backup hard drives and then back up those backup hard drives and then store them. We have many a hard drive. We're actually looking into bigger and better systems now, which once we figure out exactly what we want to do with our storage, we'll probably do an episode about it because that is kind of a confusing subject. How can I get a shot from a high distance without using a helicopter? There's two things that you could do. You could go with something like the Phantom, that little copter with the GoPro attached, and do that, not a helicopter, much cheaper. You can rent that for pretty cheap. Usually you can find someone locally that might be able to help you out, or you can buy your own. I think it's like 450 bucks to get started with it, but then it goes more and more by what you get. But you could also use pictures. I've seen people use Google Maps or Google Earth to get some stuff. When we did the Fairy of Dreams sketch a while ago, we had an aerial shot, and that was just a picture that we brought to life in different ways inside of After Effects. So you do have options, just get creative. How much does an episode of FilmRiot cost to make? On average, it's all of zero monies. Sometimes we throw some money into an episode when we want specific props or wardrobe, like we have an episode coming up this Thursday that we spent, I think, $70 to $90 total because we got some specific wardrobe and things to do the sketch with. But usually it's $0. We just shot a sketch today, actually, the same day that we're shooting this. That cost $0, and that was a conscious decision. We wanted everything in front of the lens to be what you guys would have available to you for the most part. That way, you know, it's things that you guys could jump in and do right away. And it's kind of a training ground too. If you have nothing and you have to make something from nothing, it's really good practice. What's the best stabilizer? Glide cam, steady cam, glide cam? There are so many choices. There's also the Movi and Lettuce Direct's new Helix system to consider, although the Movi is ridiculously expensive and the Helix system is also on the higher price. And right now, I would say on the lower end scale, the glide cam is probably my favorite. There's another system that I'm trying out right now, which I'll show you guys in the show pretty soon. I'm gonna review, and it's really, really cheap and surprisingly good. But I'll also have the Helix system pretty soon from Lettuce to try out and show you guys on the show as well. And from what I've seen and messed around with it so far, I think it'll probably be my #1 higher end type stabilizer system. Updates on the Fight Sound Effects pack. We were shooting for June, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. The way that we're able to keep these packs so low priced is because we are doing them sort of when we can do them. We're not shelling out too much money to make them, because then we'd have to jack the prices of these packs up, and that's not what I want to do. I want to keep them as cheap as we possibly can, but it is coming along really well. The sounds are tremendous, and it looks like it should be out in July. For sure, I can say it will be out this summer, but we are really trying for July. Hopefully, it'll be sooner rather than later. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love your job? Well, if we're talking about just creativity, entertaining people, and filmmaking as a whole, it's an 11. I love it an 11, and always. My job in general, it would depend on the day. Sometimes it's a full-on 10. I would say most of the time it's a 10. Sometimes it's pretty low. It can get really, really stressful. It can be a real pain in the balls like anything else. It's work. And our job is 7 days a week, and On average, it's 15 to 17 hours a day, sometimes going into the 20-hour range, so it can be very difficult. I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't know, and it's why they get burnt on filmmaking, is it seems more glamorous than it is. It's a lot of freaking work. It seems like it's all just fun when you see it on screen and you're laughing with it and enjoying it and wanting to be a part of it too, not knowing that the creation of it is hours and hours and hours of frustrating work to get there. But as a whole, overall, I would say 10. Last question, tips on building tension. I've quoted Peter Berg before when he said the whole bit about pulling the arrow back in the bow till you finally release it. And I really agree with that. It's that slow pullback where things get tighter and tighter and more tense over time. So I feel like the slow builds are obviously the ones that are going to give you the most tension, but you're not going to get that unless you can immerse your audience into the story. You got to get them invested in what's happening and the characters that it's happening to. If they don't care at all about the characters or feel like they understand what's going on with that character, whether they agree with that character or not, they're not going to be involved with it. They're not going to feel that tension. They have to be able to empathize with the situation on some level. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to hook them long enough to get them invested, to make them worried in any way. So phase one is come up with a compelling character and a compelling situation, and then attach your audience to that. That's the hardest part. If you can do that, then you'll be able to just play with their emotions like puppet strings. If you're looking to get yourself a website to be seen...
Ryan.
Yes.
I bet you can't do the domain ad with me sitting in your lap.
Challenge accepted. If you're looking to get yourself seen on the internet, then you need a website for your business, or if you're just trying to showcase your work, domain.com is the place to go to make this happen. They got the affordable and reliable hosting services. They got the domain discovery system to help you pick the right name for you, and we can save you some money. Use the coupon code FilmRiot at checkout to get 15% off your domain name and web hosting, because my friends, when you think domain names, think domain.com. How you like them apples? You slap me.
Logo.
So that's it for today, which means it's time for my suggestion of the week. This one is the trailer for the video game Tom Clancy's The Division, which I did tweet out a little bit ago, but I want to put here because I want to make sure you guys see it, because this thing is freaking fantastic. I was so impressed and floored by the emotional chord that they were able to strike. And that sounds cheesy, but I don't even care because it gave me the goosebumps. Like I said when I posted it, it is more immersive than any live action thing that I have seen this year, which is just insane. It was so well done. So definitely check that out. And until next time, don't forget to write, shoot, edit, repeat.